All right, so we're going to go back to your art. You did many short films growing up. How was that kind of, guiding you along your career?
I think short films are a really good way to cut your teeth in storytelling with music. I mean, it's to the point. I mean, I think a lot of stories have the same sort of formula. So when you're working on them, you can kind of pack a lot more learning curve, if you will, into a short form, and it's you can kind of crank out more at a time, I guess. But it's a great way to really learn the craft and get better at storytelling.
So then, what was your first either professional or non-professional animation gig?
Well, okay, so this is my first animation series. It's Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai, and I had done some animation in college. I don't think that counts though, but this is my first animation, and it's really been the coolest thing, and I'm kind of hooked. I want to do more now.
What was the biggest transition from you moving from something like Riverdale to animation? What did you have to change your approach? Did you have to change the way you were thinking?
I wouldn't say that my approach is any different from project to project, except for that this being Gremlins, it's coming into a franchise, it's already in existence, trying to fill some big shoes. Obviously, Jerry Goldsmith scores, which was actually a really great experience. I wasn't even being asked to do that. I was being asked to bring a new sound, paying homage and to Jerry's and Joe Dante's vision in the original films. But I was very much encouraged to come up with a sound that matched what the show was doing now, and very different. So.
Do you find its animations maybe a little more freeing since you're not bound by realism in a lot of ways?
I think that's a great way to put it. I think that animation, it's a lot more surreal, so there's a lot more opportunity for music to make something more believable. You can kind of lean into the drama, the adventure, you don't have to be as reverent about it, I guess. But it's a lot of responsibility. I think you're telling a story in a way that I think live action doesn't necessarily always leave the same kind of room to tell those stories as animation does.
We talked a little last time about your opening, which I really did love for Secrets of Mogwai. I'd like to talk. So, as you developed it, what was more challenging as the series went on for you? What was your biggest challenge?
Trying to come up with something that feels better than the last one. It was I don't know. The adventures kept getting bigger and bigger. Gizmo and Sam and Elle, they all go on bigger adventures, and so literally as the story gets bigger, the music doesn't always have to get bigger, but I think that was part of the quest and the challenge for me is how do I get bigger? How do I top that last one? How do I be just as amazing as the show is in each episode?
Okay, so we know, as you know, we have a lot of students in our audience. That's one of your audience. What would you want them to study from Gremlins? Let's say, is there a scene or sequence or sound like, listen, watch that because I was most proud of it, or is one that I struggled with the most trying to get right?
That's a great question. Second season is coming out, so I'll have to save that answer for maybe next Comic Con, and so I can spill the beans on that. But in the first season, there was this. I forget which episode it is, but there's a place where Gizmo returns home. He finally gets home to the Valley of Jade, and he's looking out over the whole valley, and he's home. And so I decided to use Gizmo's theme. Da, 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 da. And then, which is of course Jerry Goldsmith's famous theme for Gizmo, and then I found myself when writing it launching into the theme that I had written for the Valley of Jade, and I didn't realize they were going to mash up so well. Where one melody ends, the one that I had written just kind of picks up, and it was kind of a goosebump chill moment because you're like, wow, when something really, really works that I didn't even intend to do. So it was this. So my friends call it a Jerry Sherri mashup or a Sherri Goldsmith mashup or a Sherri Chung. I don't know. It's one of those. But it's a really cool musical moment that really happened accidentally. But I think again with Jerry's incredible theme and then hopefully at least a theme that was worthy to be next to it. Together, it came into something that I think was elevated by both things coming together.
For a final question, I got to deviate a little because based on a true story, I got to ask you about that. You were at UCLA recently at an event when I was there, and you performed it live with the orchestra. The thing. How was that experience?
The Deadline concert at UCLA was so cool. It was really cool to be up there with the lineup that there was, just the amazing composers and the shows that were being represented. So pretty marvelous in and of itself. But yeah, there was also the aspect of being able to perform your music and hear it live and have it be seen and heard. Because let's face it, our music is not always seen and heard because, just it serves a picture, it serves a purpose, and sometimes it's just not what the music is there for, is, to be front and center. But this was a case where it was solely about the music, and it was fun. And everyone was like, "Oh, the music was synced so well to the video." I was like, "Yeah, I cut the video to the music." I'm like, for once, it's about the music, not the picture. So it was a really, really great experience, and very, very grateful for it.
All right, so you and I have talked before. We've had very limited experience with serial killing. Limited for both of us. I mean, we've done it. We've done it. We talked about practicing. How fun was it kind of doing a score where things are really ambiguous and gray? Did it free up maybe a little more musically?
Yeah, it was hard. It was actually really difficult to find the right tone, to find the tone that would allow an audience to laugh, but maybe nervously laugh, and still, make us love our heroes and also make us love our villain as well. It was kind of an interesting line to walk, and I found myself having to kind of almost walk like very controlled tension. It wasn't. Sometimes it would lean one way or the other into highly comedic or highly horror, but a lot of times it was also just how do you walk that line and just keep that pace going and keep everybody guessing.
Is that something you might recommend young film composers and TV composers push the boundary a little? Maybe go for something like that, a little gray?
100%, and I feel like it's what I generally do in a demo. If I'm demoing for a project, I will go hard into a stylized idea, and I will tell you, it doesn't always work out. I don't always get the project. Sometimes it's just a little too much, but it's also like, what do you to lose at that point? You didn't get the gig before, you might not get the gig now, but that was a demo that I really, really pushed for, and it was just like, I'm just gonna go crazy and wild and stylized because that's what the show was doing, and I just tried it out, and I think it worked, and you know what? What's great is getting the feedback from the producers and the showrunners and even the actors who've seen it and listened to the music. They get really excited about it. They're like, wow, this is it. It really not only just matches, but it's its own kind of character, which I think a lot of us are sort of striving for in our jobs. But it's push the boundaries. Don't be afraid. I mean, the worst that happens is they tell you to dial it back. There's nothing wrong with being deemed too nutty, too crazy.
Sounds like it's better to pull back sometimes, and actually, if you don't go far enough, then they might just say, well, you're not right for it.
Absolutely. I mean, like present an idea, present a point of view. I think that's really important. Present a point of view, and there are times when you know that your point of view needs to be a little bit more down the middle. There's times when you know that, but I mean, if you have an opportunity to really push something and go nuts, try it out. There's not much to lose. And again, this is creative fulfillment, so if you can get something out of it too, I think that's a plus. It's a win-win.